Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a level 100 Rivers of Blood build guide for an Elden Ring. So the Rivers of Blood is an incredible weapon, probably one of the best in this game, and it is extremely powerful, and I'm going to be showing off this full build at level 100. This was something I got a lot of requests for, so here is the build. Now, this is at level 100. I went with 46 Vigor. Now you can shuffle these three stats around depending on how you find you need it. So as long as you're able to do a medium roll, go with it, whatever endurance allows you to do that. This will allow us to attack more frequently. I like to have a bit of mind too, since we're going to want to spam the Corpse Piler weapon art for maximum amounts of damage. So you can shuffle these stats. If you find you're not getting hit as much, go with lower vigor, pump up the mind. But as long as we can get at least 51 poise from armor, ideally 56 would be where we want to be at, but as long as it's at least 51 would be perfect. That allows you to resist one light attack, whereas 56 allows us to resist two. As for the rest of the stats, 12 strength, 18 dexterity to equip this weapon, so that's the minimum stats. And we need 20 arcane. I went with 30 here. However, you can pump the arcane a little bit higher for more blood loss buildup, but that's just what we were allowed to do at level 100. As you get upwards in the levels, if you're up to 150, put the rest of the points into arcane and a little bit into vigor and mind as you see fit. But yeah, we're gonna go with this stats here. I also equipped the Reduvia dagger. Now this isn't like necessary, but it has a low FP cost, the Reduvia Bloodblade, so they actually work together very well. So you can cycle between them if you want someone of a different weapon, or you can put this in the offhand. Alternatively, you can put something like a uchigatana in your offhand, and then you can use that for like jump attacks. So that is another option there. So I got like a blood infused uchigatana here, so that's pretty nice to have. So we're gonna go with something like that. This keeps us at a medium load. I'm using the white mask for the increased damage we'll have after bleed, alongside the white blood of Lord of Blood exultation, which does the exact same. So whenever you trigger blood loss, it increases our attack power, and we're going to be doing that a lot. So I also want the Warrior Jar Shard. The Shard of Alexander is the better version of it. Most people will only have the Warrior Jar Shard, but also the Carrion Filigree Crest allows us to spam Corpse Piler with less cost to our FP. And then the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman can be swapped for whatever damage type. Like if you're going against a holy target, put on a holy resist talisman, etc. I also had the Raw Meat Dumplings equipped because your Mimic will use these to heal, and your Mimic can't be poisoned. So don't use these yourself because it'll poison you, but it gives you a bit of extra health on your Mimic, which is super useful. Now, as for our incantations that we're going to be using, we don't really have any stats to use anything, so I guess we don't even require the... we don't have enough stats to use it, so kind of the Rivers of Blood is our go-to here. So I like Seppuku on the Rivers of Blood because we can use this to give ourselves a bit of blood loss, which is going to trigger our helmet and our talisman. So we can go in and we have extra blood loss in our weapon, so we can do this attack here and it'll just continually trigger blood loss. So this is just the L1 attack, which lets us use both of these in a power stance. And you can see there's a lot of bleeding going on there. But typically we want to use the Corpse Piler because you can see it does incredible amounts of damage and just shreds through anyone. It goes through some shields as well, as it's going to continually proc bleed, and that's really what we're doing with this build, is just trying to get as much bleed damage as possible. Now, you do got to be careful because if you use the Seppuku there before we go into combat, you can lose a little bit of health, and that's something you do have to watch out for. But as you can see, it's still on our blade. We still get that bleed boost. So that is one nice thing about the Seppuku, is you can get a lot of bleed buildup from it, making it almost like a diet Rivers of Blood. And then just using them in the offhand for like jump attacks is pretty good, or just the classic L1 attack. So these two go together very well, and we can also just spam this Corpse Piler here. That's really the best source of damage. We're doing really good damage, honestly, at level 100. So if you make it to this area, this is really the bleed capital of Elden Ring. So if you come here, this is a really great farming place if you want to level yourself up to level 150, because you can just come to this hill here and fight the Albinarics. So yes, typically our strategy would be to use our Seppuku here. This triggers our blood loss, so it gives us a bit of extra damage. And then we can just go in and attack with this. So this is two-shotting the Albinarics because we have such good blood loss here. But even if we go with something like this and multi-stance them, it's very powerful, and then we can go with our Corpse Piler as our main damage source. But as you can see, it actually uses quite a bit of stamina, so sometimes it's even best just to go with, like, if you know you're going to take them out with one spam of this, you can also just attack with a normal attack instead of doing your... So the Corpse Piler has a follow-up. You can go left L2, 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 and then that's the final slash, which has a bit of extra range there. You can completely ignore that and just go one cast of this and then spam your main hand attack for extra damage. So that'll lower your FP consumption, which is nice. So you got multiple options there. Having a uchigatana with the bleed infusement is pretty nice too, because seppuku is just going to help out with our further increasing our damage. And we trigger blood loss on ourselves, so that's going to proc both our helmet and our talisman to be able to deal more damage. So this build is absolutely a powerhouse of a build. This can carry you through the entire game. You may have a bit of difficulty with the Elden Beast, but I do have a build guide on how to take down the Elden Beast. So this will carry you all the way to the end, and then you can use that to finish off. So this is a very powerful build in Elden Ring. I highly recommend trying this out if you're having a bit of trouble with the game, because it'll make it a whole lot easier, and it's still pretty fun to use katana. So yeah, if you found this video useful, please hit the subscribe button below. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I try to respond to them as quickly as possible. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.